Oh, I'm just kidding. Don't worry about it. All right. Welcome, guys, to the evening of the July Making Bank program call. Tonight, I'm going to go over my $100,000 a month and break it down. I think there are some good lessons in here. Initially, I thought this is a great idea for the next call. And then I started working on it. I was like, I don't know. But then I started analyzing the numbers and actually came up with some stuff that I think will be helpful. So I stuck to it. I did this kind of a thing for my 50,000 month, my first 50,000 month, I think. And I went into more detail than I'm going to tonight about how the source of the lead, how their session was, all that stuff. It's going to be more focused on the numbers. I will try to avoid a monotone voice so it's not as boring as it would be otherwise. But I think it gives you guys a look into a whole month of individual sessions, admittedly a very good month. And you'll notice that I have one image sales in here and stuff like that. Then we'll dive into the numbers, and I may stop on a couple clients and talk about them because it's interesting how it worked out. It could give you guys an idea for how to convert, an individual client to 3 individual sessions, a group of 2, and also book their wife and have them pre-buy 6 images, for example. And then there are a couple other small points that wouldn't make sense to talk about for a whole call, I think, but a couple ideas that could be helpful. First guy came in, old pricing. He bought the session and 6 images, so it was $360 and $19.90, no tip. Next guy, old pricing, session and 3 images. Since he didn't get a collection, as I normally do, when they don't buy a collection, I charge a service fee. He'd already, let's see, the session and the 3 images together were $14.55, and the service charge was $28.50. The big law firm that I've worked with quite a lot now for new hires at the old pricing, not the new hire rate, but just $290, $295. They get 2 images, so they sent 2 in this month that they paid for this month in June for $880 a piece. At a tech firm that I shot fairly recently, and then a few years ago sent in 2 at $365, which is just my old image price. A husband and wife booked a session and a session with hair and makeup for $760 and $360. Guy came in and he had already purchased a session. He bought 6 images for $19.90, and he left a 10% tip of $199. And I think that was a custom amount. He wanted to tip 10%, not 510, not 515 or 25. Had a LinkedIn booking for a session, hair and makeup, $760. Andrew was a referral from a year ago that got in touch and was ready to book session and 1 image. That's the guy who said he needed to talk to his wife. And I said, what if she says no? And he was like, I mean, I'd probably just get 1 image. I said, okay, you can do that now, and then maybe you'll buy more later. So he booked. I shot a husband and wife team. They'd already put their sessions. They bought 6 images together, so that's $19.90. They booked their daughter. They mentioned, oh, we should have Simona do this. And I was like, let's pay for her right now. And they kind of weren't quite sure, but the wife wanted to do it and the husband was okay with it. So they booked her for $360. I booked someone from Florida with hair and makeup for $760. A guy came in and booked a session and 3 images for $14.55. He paid a $28.50 service fee. I had a woman from Florida came in and she got 2 images. She tipped $112.55 and she paid the $20 service fee. I had someone come in. This is, let's see, actually forgetting anything about this. She bought 2 images, $730 for the images, $37.45 for a tip, and $19 for the service fee. An old client sent in a new hire at 365. I booked a group of 3 for a government contractor for 2350, and they paid the 6110 service fee. These next 2 guys are the named partner in a group. They were gonna try to book 5 people, but 3 are not local. So I suggested booking individual for the 2 of them, and then booking individually if like people come to DC soon, or trying to help them find someone who would shoot them. So it would have been like 3,000, something like that, 3,500 if they had booked on location for a group of 5. First guy came in for 9 images. He paid $30.85 and he tipped me $462.75. The other guy came in later. He booked the session and bought 9 for $34.45 last month. I shot a woman. She bought 3. She tipped $168.52. She paid $28.50 for the service fee. I booked a hair and makeup final week session for someone for $590. I booked a referral from the crew for a final week session for $190. He bought 6 at the new pricing for $2,700. He tipped $135. I had a client come in for her 3rd session, old pricing. She bought a handful last time, the first time, in the other studio years ago, 4 years ago maybe. She's a good client. She wrote back after I sent her the retouched images that she didn't like her makeup. I said, really? You liked it then? I think it's awesome. What don't you like about it? And she wrote back and said, my friends all say it's amazing makeup and amazing headshots. So I changed my mind. Then there was this interest in having me come do portraits at her house with her dog, who I thought had 3 legs. And then she booked just a few months ago for passport photos, which I told her she shouldn't do. She wanted to. She was like, can I bring my dog and we can do portraits there? I said, sure. So the dog shows up with 2 legs, like an 80-pound dog. I carried the dog up to the next floor, carried the dog down. It was nervous the whole time. It didn't work out. The passport photos, she really didn't like the passport photo. She didn't like the color she wore. She didn't like her hair. She got hair and makeup. She didn't like it for whatever reason. She booked another one last month for her headshots. The plan was to do the portrait photos then, but then do a different session for the headshots, which I told her she should combine, but she didn't want to. So she filled out the form again, got to the booking page and booked. And she said, I just want to do this over again. The vibe was terrible last time. And I'm like, okay, well, she wants to come back. So that's weird. So I called her. I asked her, what she meant by the vibe being weird. And she said, well, it wasn't you. It was just me. It was a bad day for me. And the dog was cooperative and it wasn't you. It was me. I was like, okay, well, we can definitely do it again. I'm happy to do it again for headshots this time. We can do the passport photo again if you want. She said, yeah, that sounds good. She says, you did make me feel bad. You hurt my feelings last time. I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. What? How did I do that? And she said, well, I'm feeling my age. I'm 64 or 63 or something. I was like, okay. And she said, I'm just sensitive about how I look. And you said that I'm not a model, but I look good in this shot. And I know I'm not a model, but I didn't like it. So I apologize. I'm like, I've said that to a few different people over the years. So I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. I'm sorry. It'll help me. I won't be saying that anymore. I get where you're coming from. I kind of did get where she was coming from, but also kind of confused. But it's like that with my wife too. So I'm used to it. So I think the phone call was super helpful and she arrived. Everything was great. She wasn't holding a grudge or anything, not surprisingly, because she booked me again. And she ended up buying 12, one of which was another passport picture for $36.90. And she tipped me $553.50. So I think we're good. And then I booked a a referral from a networking group for 2 people in studio. That'll be next month, but that was 900. I booked someone who booked a few months ago and seemed to like her pictures, but then booked and said she really didn't like her pictures last time. She was squinching too much. So she was a very quick session. She was in the studio for 15 minutes, one outfit. She ended up paying 190 for the session and 495 per image. She's interested in me shooting other events and stuff for her nonprofit. Philip came in, was nervous about pricing, but paid the final week session fee of 190. Came in wanting 4 images for 1980, bought that, paid the $51.50 service fee. Paul came in, new session pricing for 490, 6 images for 2,700, tipped me 135. Husband and wife purchased their sessions. This is the people who Saturday spent 5,600 on 18 images, but they paid last month 890 and 490 for the sessions. Another person came in, bought 6 for 1990 and tipped $288.50. Couple came in, old pricing, they bought 12 for 36.90. I had the Washington Post event you might have seen me post about. That was 10,260. 4 hours. I hired a crew photographer and I hired 2 crew photographers as assistants, and Maureen came along too. Sydney bought a buyout of the rest of her images from that event for 250. The guy who installed our fridge several weeks ago, I told him about my pricing. He texted me while I was at the studio about to start my second of 2 sessions for the day. Said his wife got her hair and makeup done and their headshot photographer canceled. Said, I can't afford your rates. Do you have a recommendation? I said, I do. But if she comes in at 1 o'clock, when I'm done with this session, I'll waive the session fee and I'll sell her images at the old pricing of $365 a piece. So she came in, she bought 2 for $730. I booked someone for $450 accidentally instead of $490 from Florida again. A different law firm sent in a new hire for $365. This is the most interesting one. The guy who we listened to his phone call with me 2 months ago, who was a CEO guy who asked how I was structured, and I said I was an S Corp. That guy came in. His dad's a photographer. He was a fan when he walked in. He bought 12, and before we started shooting, he talked about 5 executives in his company he would like me to shoot if it goes well. So he was buying 12, and it went well. So I asked about them, and 3 are local, and 2 are coming in July 28th or something. So I said, do you want me to shoot them quick, or do you want to give the 3 at least the kind of experience you had? He said, let's give them the experience I had. So I said, how many images do you want to buy? And he said 2. So we bought 3 sessions in addition, 2 images each, a la carte, not the 6 image collection, and 2 people as a group on location. The total was like 8,600. I told him the total, and he's like, oh. And he said, my controller is going to kill me for this. And I said, how about 8,000? He said, okay. So I gave him a discount to get the funds. I was in the race to the $100,000 a month, and I wanted to get there. So I was fine giving 600 off to just make it easy for him to say yes. He mentioned having his wife come in for session 2, and I tried to get him to book then, but he wouldn't. So I sent him an email a few days later saying that I had a special deal for him if he wanted to book his wife, and he responded, how do I do that? I called him and offered him the old pricing for the no hair and makeup session, which is what he wanted for her, so $360. And I gave him $100 off the collection of 6 at the old pricing for $18.90 for booking right away. So he did that for $22.50. I had a guy come in, the guy who said that's too expensive. And I said, do you want to hear why it's expensive? And he said, if you have time and you want to, I'll listen. And then I offered him the $300 off for the final week, and he booked right away, paid $190 and stuck to 1 image for $685. I booked someone from LinkedIn for no hair and makeup right now for $490. I booked a guy in my studio building who had reached out long before, but then was in a rush for an image for a magazine. So we booked at the new session rate of $490, and he got 6, and he rushed one image, so his total was $32.40. I usually have companies pay up front for a group, but a returning client had merged with the company. I wasn't sure if the new company would take the pricing very well, so I split it up. They paid the second half of their invoice for $39.75. I booked someone that was a referral. This was on the last day of the month. And I sold her a session for $490, and I tried to get her to pre-buy 4, but she wasn't sure she'd want 4. So I asked about 2 and she said yes. So I gave her $100 off of pre-buying 2. So basically I gave her $1,000 of credit for $900. I had a referral from a woman who reached out to me early on in my headshots saying I had shot them, their company, a couple years before, and they wanted me to come back. They loved me. I was not doing photography then, so I knew it wasn't me. So I told her, I don't think it's me, but I'd love to do it. It didn't work out. She put out a LinkedIn ProFinder request. I think we were already connected. So I messaged her. I said, hey, I saw your request. Maybe we can work together this time. Give me a call. She called. She said it was too expensive. She's looking for work, but she said her son just got headshots and he didn't like it. He's a Baltimore area doctor. So I connected with him on LinkedIn. He said, I'm interested. Never could get him on the phone. On the last day of the month, he filled out the form, or maybe the day before. So I got him on the call. He's like, hey, my girlfriend also wants to come in. So I gave him a session with hair and makeup, a session without hair and makeup, and 4 images for $29.60 instead of $34.60, I think. And then the last one, I needed $250.33. I thought I went over the numbers. I was over 100,000, but I thought I needed $250.33. So I mentioned it to a photographer friend nearby. He just got a motorcycle. So I agreed to do an on-location portrait session quick for him and 1 image for $250.33. Maureen got some good bookings this month. She brought in someone influential for a demo. I just booked someone from that session today. She liked it, didn't seem blown away, seemed annoyed at current events, news events. Said she liked them, didn't seem thrilled, bought an extra image for $365. She brought in a cosmetic surgery doctor who we've been trying to get to buy 5 client appreciation packages. So the hair and makeup session and 1 image for clients. And then the office would get commercial usage of one of the images that they bought or got. And they were interested, but they agreed that the doctor needed new headshots. So eventually we said, just come in. We were going to also throw in the session and a headshot for the doctor. I met with the doctor and Maureen and found out he plays violin. So I said, I'm going to give you the session, an image, headshot, and violin portrait for free when you book the client appreciation packages. So they decided they just want to go ahead and book him, pay for him. I said, I'm still going to give you the violin portrait, even though you haven't bought the client appreciation packages. So he brought that. He paid $360 for the session. He bought 12 additional images. So we got 13 images for $36.90, and he tipped me $553. Someone, Maureen, reached out to the first week she started working with me, works for the client she booked. And the friend of Maureen said, that's great, glad to know what you're doing. Don't have a need for it, but I'll keep it in mind. Then a few weeks ago, that person's boss asked Maureen's friend to get her a new headshot because she hates this one. She can't stand the one they've been using. She loathes it. She's just sick and tired of it. So obviously the person thought of Maureen and me, booked. It was $760 for the session. She bought 15 images for $44.50, and she tipped me $180. Those are my source of income other than coaching from the $100,000 a month. So I want to summarize for you. This is where most of the value comes, I think. I had 23 sessions that I shot, individual sessions last month. I sold 125 images. So that's an average of 5.43 images per session, which really doesn't surprise me because my bottom collection is 6 and people often go for 6. Sometimes they buy less, sometimes they buy more. So I'm thinking I might go to a 7, 12, 20 collection structure and see how that affects the average number of images sold. I bet it will increase it. And I won't say this for last because it really fits in here, but I think this was the most surprising thing to me probably. Last month, I averaged a total sale, including the session fees, of $2,903.69. That just blew me away because I would have guessed my average was around 2,000 or 2,200, but this last month it was 2,900. So 2,900 times 23 is a good bit of money. Just that the individual sessions I shot with the session fees included. No, wait, some of those session fees aren't even included because they were booked on a previous month. So I probably averaged total sale of $3,000 per person. So 12 of 23 sessions bought a collection. So over half of my people are buying a collection. Service charges were $236. So not a lot, but something. Only, if I only charge them when people don't buy collections, that was $236 off of, I guess, 11 sessions or 10 sessions, 9 sessions. Sometimes I forget to add the service charge. New hires were big for me last month. The 2 law firms that sent in at $880, the total was $3,220. If you take away the 2 like kind of double new hire rates, then that still leaves me at like $1,700 for the 365 images, $365 session and images for new hires. So that's pretty good. And then tips were $2,519. I think that's pretty awesome. 2.5% of my income from last month was tips. So if you can do that, just think about what 2.5% of tips would do. Yeah, I think you should just get over the tip averseness if you have it. Obviously, we're all talking. I think most of us do it, but it's pretty cool. So those are the summaries. Thoughts on that?
So, John, can you give us a rundown on where you got these customers? What was the average? Was it all LinkedIn or where did you
try to just quickly go through? I won't summarize their order. I'll just go through and tell you. LinkedIn, organic, LinkedIn, I think LinkedIn, referral, LinkedIn, and the session that the couple booked for their daughter, that they were from LinkedIn. Referral, I think, LinkedIn, Michelle, LinkedIn, group of 3. The group of 3 was organic.
Is no one finding you via the internet?
I've said organic a couple times.
Okay, so organic equals.
I'm telling you, LinkedIn is good.
Yeah,
Stu and Tom were a referral from someone that hasn't booked with me, but who I met on LinkedIn. This person was a referral from an old friend on the hill. I think this one was an organic referral from a headshot crew member, a returning client, referral from a networking group, Groupon. This lady who came back and bought one image but bought 4 images, I think 3 or 4 last time, was from my Groupon offer that I have running, which is $125 to retouch an old photo. So she got in touch and said, my daughter got this, or she actually said, I want to book a session for 125. And I was like, what? Because I set the Groupon thing up 3 years ago, 2 years ago, and no one has bit. So she's like, I'm on Groupon and I see it's, I was like, oh no, that's retouching an old photo. She's like, oh, I actually have an old photo from my daughter took. So I'll do that for 125. And I said, why don't I do that for free and you book a session with me now? She said, okay. So probably $1,500 or $2,000 from the Groupon ad or offer that I put up. Let's keep going. Philip, LinkedIn or organic, I'm not sure. LinkedIn, LinkedIn, organic, connection I had for the event. I know someone who's an event planner from church at the Washington Post. Refrigerator repairman, installation guy, connection. Referral, LinkedIn, organic, LinkedIn. The guy in my building knew about me somehow. I don't know how. Returning client, referral, friend. And then 3 from Maureen.
So would you say that LinkedIn is responsible for what, 75%?
Yeah, probably. I also think that, yeah, I think LinkedIn people tend to spend more than non-LinkedIn people, because if you're active on LinkedIn, you realize the value. And so, you know, it's more valuable to people who are active on LinkedIn because they're active on LinkedIn. You know, people who need a LinkedIn headshot but aren't active on LinkedIn, it seems less important because they're not on there all the time. So yeah, maybe 60, 75%, something like that.
And of the LinkedIn leads you got, were most of them because you posted stuff, or, you know, what, how did they find you?
I don't have that breakdown, or I won't be able to probably remember just by going through, but a lot of it is from mining. A couple are probably from LinkedIn Profinder. That has been slower for me lately. I'm not getting as many as I used to. Some were, I'm sure, old connections. Yeah, but it's a lot mining and what I post and what other people post. I had a 24-hour period where 4 people posted pictures that I took of them and said, John is great, blah, blah, blah. You know, bookings come from those.
Yeah, I've been looking at those. And so you did not ask them to post this, or?
I didn't ask any of them to post it, I don't think.
Wow.
But I have asked people to post in the past, and I have been mining posts, doing posts to mine where I tag them. So my thought is that more and more of my clients, because I've been doing this consistently for a while, either know that they found me from a post someone did on LinkedIn, which is like, well, I should do one now because it helped me. Or they've seen my post and just think it's their post because it's their picture. And they just think they should do it because they found me on LinkedIn by someone posting their headshots, so they should do it. So I think it feeds itself. And I'd say over the last few months, I've been getting more posts like that than I did before, even probably while I was asking. It's just about dedication to a platform for me and being active. I've been active on LinkedIn, like pretty serious about it for 3.5 years, I think. So it's paying off. I'm committed to LinkedIn. October of 2018, I think. I was like, I'm gonna be there. That's where I
It works. You just really got to work it. Like you said, it's been working well for me. I'm getting more and more every month from LinkedIn.
and it feeds itself, and it's a social platform. So when you get someone who's active on it, they have a good network, they can afford you, they invest in you, they think it's worth it, then their friends are more likely to book you. Their friends tend to be active on LinkedIn because people network on LinkedIn. And then it eventually starts really cranking sooner or later.
It's more powerful social proof than just your nice website or even Google reviews, I think.
Yep. And there are much fewer active photographers on there who post stuff. So it's a smaller cross section.
Although I seem to be connected with all of them.
Yes.
That's what happens.
Yeah. You got to stop commenting on their stuff. If I like something posts on LinkedIn, it's because I think it's awesome. Otherwise, I'm not commenting.
Yeah, there's a few, I mean, I can't help but comment or like on Ivan's stuff, but in general, it's not like I don't love you other guys.
You should unfollow Ivan. Follow him on Instagram if you want.
Yeah, I do. Okay.
Because
But
it will show you everything Ivan posts, which
Yeah.
makes it harder to post, engage, connect.
yeah,
But I get it.
I just, I don't know. I mean, if I unfollow him, does he know? Does he find out?
You won't know.
Okay. He probably didn't care anyway, but I just
Oh,
don't
no,
want
Roger unfollowed me on LinkedIn.
to. What?
He'll probably call you. He'll probably spend the money to make an international call and confront you about it.
Yeah.
You're crying. It's not a big deal, but if you really are serious about LinkedIn, I do think carefully before I engage on a photographer's post, because I want to see non-photographers' posts. Anyway, helpful, Kevin. Is that good enough to help you know where everything came from?
Yeah, it's terrific. Yeah, thanks a lot, John. That's really my primary interest is how do you get these customers? It's just $100,000 is an amazing thing. I mean, if you do the math, that's $1.2 million. So, no denying it. You've broken the code in terms of how to book business via LinkedIn. That's for sure.
Yeah, I am thinking about investing in a marketing company to revamp my website and consult with me on messaging, because I think I like the income that I've got, and I'm just fine with it being from LinkedIn, but I want it to be a little more diversified. It's somewhat diversified. If LinkedIn had stopped working, I probably would have done 20,000, or with the Washington Post job, probably 30,000 last month. So I don't think I'll be caught where I'm like have no income if LinkedIn stops working or something, but I'd like more streams of leads for sure.
Yeah. So of that total, how much of it was a result of groups? How many groups did you shoot?
I booked a group of 2, a group of 3. I got the second half of a group of 15. I got the event for 10,000. So probably 20,000 of it, or 20,000 of it or so, a little less probably, was non-individual session headshots for besides the coaching income. So probably 20,000 was groups, and 70,000 of it was individual sessions, and then new hires, and then some coaching income, something like that.
Yeah, that's amazing as well.
Yeah, I know groups.
That's
groups-
called
If I
hustle.
could get groups going, I'd be much further along. I have leads for groups 10,000, 45,000. I have the law firm that could go for 250,000. I just got like reactivated a lead for a law firm that has 961 people allegedly in around DC. So that would be another multi-$100,000 deal if I could get it at my pricing. So yeah, I've been thinking about, the Express Groups option is trying to get more groups because I should be able to get more groups than I am. It's a disappointing area of the business right now.
I still haven't booked.
John, slightly different question. I might have missed this in prior talks, but what is your, well, two things. What is the service charge for again? And then what's the client appreciation shoot? Is that just kind of like a monthly?
The client appreciation shoot was really Maureen's idea that she's focused when she's focusing on this client appreciation package is on cosmetic surgery. The idea is that it's very focused on what you look like, and it would be cool to highlight the work of the cosmetic office with their clients' faces, and it would be good marketing, a good marketing asset for them to have really strong images of their clients, their work. So she really came up with it and is not focused only on that, but that's one thing she thinks is a good idea to go after. So I've let her. The service charge is to help cover the cost of using credit cards. I've decided to do it. There's differences of opinion on whether I should or whether it should just be a cost of doing business that should be calculated in my pricing. It's legal in DC and Virginia, or DC where I operate at least. You cannot legally charge more than the processing fees. And so those are at 2.7 to 3.1 or 3.5 or something. So when I charge a service charge, it's just 2.6. So I'm not worrying about what card they're using and whether it's a little higher or not. And I'm just charging that, plan to just charge that when they don't buy a collection and just on the images. Really, it's because I don't want to tell them about the service charge to the session fee when I book them. And I know that they will see the service charge. And if they have a question about it, they can ask in studio. So I feel fine charging that. So
Is that an option that they elect to pay, or is this something that you put on?
they elect to pay it when they don't buy a collection. But no, my guess is that some people think it's tax. They know, well, I bought one image for $495 and the total is $502.72. That's whatever. No one's questioned it. But if they do, I would just take it off. It's happening more and more that people are charging for you to use your credit card. So, yep, it's a decision I made. I get that it's not for everyone. It's fine. I get why it's not for everyone. No problem. But my clients, I don't think mind giving me an extra $52 or $28 or $19. So I'll take it.
So you mentioned the networking group. Can I assume that's Nexco?
It was Nexco, even though I'm no longer a part of it. I still know the people. So the guy passed me a referral.
Yeah, of course, I've looked at that and would love to be a part of it, but I think, it's only eligible for full-time businesses. And since mine's part-time, it doesn't really work. So I don't think I really would have time to do that anyway. So did you opt out of the networking group just because it would take too much time, or what?
Didn't fit with my $1 million per year to spend every other Wednesday morning on an hour-and-a-half call and then trying to give referrals, and it just didn't fit. I wanted to be able to go to groups, and I don't want to have to try to find someone to take my spot, and I don't want to have to enter stuff on Chamber Forge. And I wasn't getting any referrals from it for the most part, so it didn't make sense. Anything else?
I have a logistical question that's a little bit different. How do you schedule people when you're also offering hair and makeup packages?
Yeah, so I revamped this, I think, in a very smart way. So what I was doing was setting 2 hours for no hair and makeup and 3 hours for hair and makeup. What I was finding was when I was booking people back to back, especially with the Tuesday, Friday thing, which was designed to book people back to back, is that often the people with no hair and makeup are men, and often they're quicker sessions. Often they're in and out in 45 minutes or an hour. Then I was waiting an hour for the session with hair and makeup to start. Then I was waiting an hour for the hair and makeup, and I didn't like that. So I switched it. So now what's blocked off is an hour for no hair and makeup and 3 hours for hair and makeup. And so no padding. And I started booking no hair and makeup at 9, 11, 1, 3, and 5, even 7. And I started booking hair and makeup at 10, 12, 2, 4, and 6. What that does is it gives me 2 hours if someone books no hair and makeup, and then after someone else books a hair and makeup. So I have an hour for the no hair and makeup. I have an hour to shoot during hair and makeup with the first person. If someone, the most challenging thing would be if someone books no hair and makeup and then books no hair and makeup right after, but because it's every 2 hours, they can't book back to back. Leaving, so I have 2 hours for every no hair and makeup. And if that goes longer than an hour into a hair and makeup session, it saves me from waiting as long for hair and makeup because I'm working with somebody. The most inefficient is if someone books a hair and makeup and then books another hair and makeup, it would be 4 hours after. But it allows, what will more often happen, I think, is my no hair and makeup will lead into a hair and makeup session. So I think it allows me to fit in another session or two, because I do start at 9 for the men, and I am willing to shoot a 7 o'clock session. Well, I say men without hair and makeup, a no hair and makeup session at 9 a.m. and a no hair and makeup session at 7 p.m. I really can have, like 6 bookings in a day, something like that.
Okay.
How it shapes out.
And then kind of a follow-up question to that. How do you manage it with the hair and makeup person? I mean,
When someone books a hair and makeup session, I reach out.
yeah, so I mean,
I reach out to my favorite one and say, "Are you available?" She says yes. I go to the calendar invitation and I edit it and I invite her by email. She has then the contact information for the person, reaches out, does a consultation, mostly by email, I think.
mhm.
And then they show up. If she says no, I go to my second hair and makeup artist. If she says no, rarely do they both say no. Then I either go with my third makeup artist, or which I don't use her often, or I just will call the client and be like, sorry, both of my clients or both of my artists are unavailable. I would then before I call that client, I would ask my favorite, like, give me a few dates and times. If they book the 6 o'clock session, like, give me a few Fridays at 6 that would work for you. And then I can say, my artists aren't available at that time, but my favorite artist is available this time, and that time at the same time you booked on the same day of the week you booked. And then I'd reschedule. I've only had to do that a few times.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yeah. Anything else on this or anything related? I have these 2 little bonus thoughts.
John, I just had a quick question on your use of Maureen. You're doing most of your work, it sounds like, from your LinkedIn mining. So where is Maureen focusing her energy, and how is that different in terms of generating leads?
She's focusing on groups, even though she's only booked individuals so far. the goal is corporate groups. This was the end of, she just finished up 3 months. And the last month she paid for herself and more. So we're on the right track. She has leads that could be quite good for early on in her sales time with me. But her focus is on getting the corporate groups, which, as I said, is a weak point right now for me.
And is most of her work actually, in-person sales calls, or is she working phones and online? Or
She's working the phones. She is reaching out to her network. She has a pretty great network in DC. She was in media sales, ad sales for 28 years as a salesperson, as a sales trainer, as a sales manager. And she spent her whole career in DC. So she knows people around here. So she's working the phone, she's working her network, not much online. She is going to in-person networking events and other events. And what else? She does have in-person meetings fairly often. Most weeks she has 1 or 2 in-person meetings with people she's connected to. She's working that.
and is she basically compensated draw plus commission?
It's now 2,500 a month plus 20% of commission.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot more person to person and it's really paying off. I mean, I don't
Say
go in
person to
there
person, are you talking phone or
In person?
in person.
in
In
person?
person. And some people over the phone or Zoom if they can't make it. But sometimes people just get real interested and they, I give them the option to come to my studio. I mean, I don't make it a sales call, but more like a one-to-one networking call. And I would say, especially if people come to my studio, they see it, they get more interested. And I'd say probably half the people who come to my studio end up booking with me. That's been pretty good. Or, I'm just 5 minutes away from the big corporate Starbucks, and a lot of people want to meet there because they have their special reserve room there. And so that's been a great meeting place for people. But yeah, a good number of them are booking with me. And if I haven't got a client going, then I try to do a meeting of some sort with somebody.
Yeah, but you're likable. Would you recommend that for someone like Roger?
I don't know. I suppose I could pose for him and take a commission.
There you go. Do it for me too.
No problem.
Roger's a rather handsome mammal. I'm sure he wouldn't have a problem.
Yeah, he could do it.
But yeah, so I don't have the Starbucks reserve room. I got the Rubens tap room to meet at.
Yeah, more and more people are just coming to the studio for that. And so it piques their interest.
Do you
Which is
have
very-
print in your studio hung up?
Yeah, I do. Mhm.
How do they react to those?
They like them because I have them, first of all, I have them sitting in a position where they can see them.
Yep.
And then, they might say, well, what about this? Or what about that? And then I can point to a print and say, well, this person, this and that. And, we were able to do this. And so, yeah, they're a good sales tool.
Do you have only headshots up? What do you have up?
Well, right now I have a wall of 9 headshots, and I'm actually just starting to put up other photos that I've done. I have a pretty extensive history in music photography. So, I've started printing some of those. I'm going to put some of those up, and then I'll probably put up some of my corporate portraits that I've done, but mostly it's the headshots.
Cool. What size are the headshots on the wall?
So I print them myself. I have an Epson 7570 printer. So they are printed on 17 by 22 pieces of paper with about a 1-inch border on each side.
Cool. That's
Nice.
really large for a headshot, I would think.
Yeah, I've found my prints that I put on the wall have been helpful in talking to people. I can't tell you how many people have come in and said, well, should I wear a tie? Should I wear a jacket? What do I do? And then I point to the prints that I've got on the wall and say, this person, this is their job, this person, this is their job. And it's been really helpful. But Charlie, I really like the idea of getting people into the studio. I have a very comfortable and beautiful setup. And, I had not thought of inviting them in for meetings to the studio. And
Yeah,
I'm gonna borrow that one from you.
oh, go ahead. And what's really convenient about, I'm only like 4 minutes from the middle of downtown Seattle, and I have free, safe garage parking. So, it makes it easier. People don't have to worry about parking on the street, or I don't have to valet park people like John is now doing.
Yeah. I'm up by Fisherman's Terminal, so parking is not a problem.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Good idea. There we go. The last two, just quick thoughts that don't merit a whole call. Last month was a big, really reminder to me. My milestone, what I call a milestone, which is what I was really chasing. It's a short-term goal. Like the million is the year goal. That's a great goal. It's not really a milestone. Milestone, what I mean by a milestone is like the $100,000 month. The first month that, if it were an average month for a whole year, would get you to the million. The first $1,000 client, the first $5,000 client, the first $5,000 group job, the first $10,000 group job, the first $250,000 group job. Those are the milestones I'm talking about. I think they've been super important to me. I was really, only thing about last month I was really disappointed in was that I really didn't have the milestone in my mind of $100,000 a month. I was going for 83,333, which is the average month you need to get to $1 million. That was my goal. So I passed it. I was like, well, that was it. I should have been thinking and trying to get to 100,000. I wasn't trying to get to 100,000. So that's unusual for me. I think normally I'm thinking about this stuff. I really hadn't thought about $100,000 a month much at all. But I think it's important to set these things, set these milestones. Obviously, you chase them, you reach them, and then I think what some people who are successful do that kind of hurts them is they don't really believe them. Like for me, I really have never, I don't remember an accomplishment that I thought was a fluke. I didn't hit 100,000 and be like, wow, that was a crazy perfect storm. I'll never do that again. No, now I'm like, I'm gonna be a little disappointed every month I don't get 100,000 because I can do it. I just need to do it consistently. Like, why wouldn't I want to do this every month or more? And so now my real next milestone that I'm thinking about is 150. So believe it when you hit it, that you did it. I'm big on responsibility. If you're slow in booking, you should look in the mirror. It's your fault. If it's going great, you should take responsibility. It's not bad luck if you're doing badly, and it's not amazing fortune if you happen to do really well one month. You should take responsibility for both. And if it's not going that well, it's because of you. If it is going well, you should believe it. So, and then obviously you should reset them. If you hit 25,000 for your first month at 25,000, it shouldn't stay at 25,000. You should be going somewhere above that. So I just would encourage you. I think probably you all now have sales goals for the year, and you know how much that is per month. But do you have a sales goal for the month that you want to hit, that you don't need to hit every month to get to your goal? But like, I know that if I'm going to hit $1 million I knew in January, if I'm going to hit $1 million this year, I'm not going to hit $83,333 every month. There have to be $100,000 months in there. There might have to be $150,000 months, because it goes up and down. Even if you tend to go up, you're gonna be lower one month than another month. So I really should have known that I need to hit 100,000 for a few months out of the year to have a good shot at getting to 1 million, even though the average month is less than 100,000. So just be thinking about those smaller milestones, anything you can think of, a client spend, what's the best sale you want from a couple that come in together. Just think about how you can max that out, I think. So that's that. And then any questions on that quick? Pretty simple, I think, but hopefully helpful. And then I'm thinking about the flow of my sessions, getting to the point where I'm really kind of disappointed in myself, even if it's a good sale, if I only sold headshots and only shot headshots. Someone buys 12 images and they're all headshots. I know I should have done more. They were a good client. They loved the work. I didn't take the time to transition them over into portraits. I didn't do the planning and the prep necessary to have my other lights ready and my backgrounds accessible, my settings dialed in to quickly transition from headshots to portraits. I didn't even do headshots sliding in a canvas backdrop. How easy is that? Well, I think we're done. Let me just do this first. It takes 30 seconds. You put it really close to them, take a few shots. If I had sold one extra image to every client last month, I would have been at 113,000. And so many of them, they just bought headshots, white background, gray background, triangle, key fill kick, different outfits, different expressions. So what I'm working on is more of a standardized process for everyone who seems to be happy to be there, everyone who's really liking their images. If someone's like, I don't know, I don't like my face, but I guess I'll choose this one. I'm not going to go through the whole process for them. If they're like, I got 10 minutes, I have a call I have to be on, I'm not going to be like, well, you have to stay for 45 minutes because I'm going through the process. But most people, almost all my clients, it would be very helpful to have a plan, mostly broken down by men and women. Men will get key fill kick all the time. They'll get a black background instead of just a dark gray background. They will have a half-bodied portrait. Maybe I incorporate the brick more for men or whatever. I just want to lay it out and then get so adept at it that I, from doing it so many times, it's easy. I just know now's a good time. Identifying their clothing. When I look at their clothing in the beginning, know that the canvas backdrop that I always shoot with a guy is going to be the gray and white background with this outfit, or it's going to be the pink backdrop with this dress. So whenever we shoot this dress, I'm going to end with the pink backdrop for that outfit. Stuff like that, I think, will really help me maximize the amount of money spent and what I give to my clients. And I think it could add, $5,000 to $10,000 a month just by making sure I have, when I take my strobes on location, I often bring my strobes back in, or they stay in my car for a while and I shoot my portraits with the strobes. So they're either packed in my car or they don't get unpacked in the studio. So when I have someone, even if they have a great outfit, great look, I don't really want to make them wait 5 minutes while I get the strobes out, put them on the stands, put the umbrellas in, get the diffusion on, set up the right background, right floor background. Sometimes I put a background on the floor, right chair, test the key light, test the fill light, and then maybe they won't even like it. I don't want to do that to clients. I need to have it set up beforehand. So having that set up, being committed to this flow once I work out more what I want it to be, I'm sure it'll change once I do it. Something that I'd recommend to you guys too, even though I haven't put it into practice yet.
So just so I understand, you're talking about having two setups right there ready to go to flow from one to the other, or you're just talking, you're going to take your headshot lights and just pretty much use the same kind of thing on the other background?
Both, really. My
Okay.
studio is big enough that I should be able to have the lights set up and ready to go for a portrait setup, but also be able to just bring the lights over to the other side if I want the other backdrop, or bring the backdrop across the room to the portrait side of things, or bring it over to the brick, or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, I've
So
had
you're-
I've had a couple sessions where I've gone from headshot to portrait, and my studio isn't big enough to have everything all set up, and it is real clunky, and I'm just trying to figure out a system to make it quicker and less clunky for my clients and for me.
One thing I would think about, and I don't know your space or what you would think of this, but just having a different lens, even dropping out the bottom light if you're in triangle,
Mhm.
making it more like a key fill kick.
Mhm.
Go to a 50, drop the camera down, throw a stool where they are, switch out a background for the X drop or way in front of the X drop.
Mhm.
And I think it would be worth even tinkering with, how can I do a more portrait feel with the flex kit, where the flex kit is, with a shorter lens, minimal required movement of gear.
That's a good idea. I'll try that.
Are you using X-Drop for all your backdrops?
I'm using extra for all my plain backdrops, so white, gray, black.
Uh-huh.
I have the hand painted canvas backdrops, and I have the wands. Like, another thing would be, I really should experiment with the RGB wands to come up with less vibrant colors. What comes easily is like a bright yellow, bright red, bright purple, bright blue. It would be worth tinkering to find something that's softer and less loud. How to do that with the wands, that would be really useful.
Are you
Yeah,
There's
still?
a lot of new, go
John,
ahead.
the
Rod,
ones from a year ago or so?
wait, who's talking?
Oh, I was
year
just asking
before.
if you.
Roger, can you finish up? Sorry, then we'll go to Tom.
So I've been looking at the canvas type backgrounds on the X-Drop
Yeah,
and see, because I want to do more portrait style stuff. And I've actually had corporate clients looking for that kind of look.
yeah.
And
I
just
think it could be good.
wondering whether there's enough variety on the X-Drop system to really go with that.
I think there's enough variety from the little bit I looked into it. You would have to decide for yourself, but I assume that they are decent because they're from Westcott and they're X drops, and Joel Grimes is behind it. But my guess is that it won't look as cool as the real thing.
Yeah.
All right, Tom.
I was just asking if you were still using those same colored wands that you've had for a couple of years now.
I don't use them a lot. One thing I did that I thought was really cool, the guy didn't end up buying that. He bought a key fill kick without it, but I used it as a kicker. And that was, I think Jordan Bellotti gelled a light, and it was cool. He put on a white background, which I hate with the key fill kick, but I thought it was real cool to just have like a blue or green kick, a blue or green kick, which is really easy to do. It just has a more like movie kind of a feel, I think.
Joe Lubong does a lot of those.
Okay,
lately.
I was just thinking about Joe. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
great with that.
Mhm.
it's cool. I think, I just really need to, I've gotten comfortable with a good amount of variety, but I should be doing a lot more variety. So maybe that'll help you guys. Anything else?
No, this is really helpful. It's good to get all that information. It's awesome.
I've been experimenting with gelled lights on the background. And what I'm now doing, instead of the really bright colors, is I'm just dialing back the power on those lights. And I get a lot more subtle effects that, to me, they're a lot more commercial, well, a little more marketable. They're not as shocking. You know, you get a bright yellow. People don't generally want that. They want something a little more subtle. And you know, it's like I'll put a smoky pink up there, and I'll dial back the lights enough to where it comes across as like a Cabernet color. You know, it's really classy looking.
I think the bright colors work better for young people, and I don't photograph a lot of young people, so yeah, that's cool. One extra thing I'll just expound on, I posted in the group, which is I had someone saying, man, why do people buy headshots that are so similar? As far as I know, all of you do this, but if you feel like that, I think often what I just realized with this guy's comment is, I think if you feel like that, why would they buy so many that are so similar? I think you need to fine tune your sense of expression. I think unintentionally, I am helping my clients distinguish and understand what they're seeing. And so they'll know like, well, this one is really warm and engaging, but it's not really exactly happy. And this one over here is happy. Like I look really excited about everything. And this one, I just look really nice, you know, really friendly. Or, you know, this one looks serious. This one looks kind of badass. And this one looks like I just couldn't care less about this person. So I think by being more technical or more precise about, you know, this isn't a bigger smile and a smaller smile. This, like, describe it for the clients, what you're legitimately seeing. Don't just make stuff up. But as you become more attuned to expressions, you know, it's a subjective thing. So you could be like, I feel like you look a little pissed off here. You can be like, I don't think so. I love it. Or yeah, but I love it, or whatever. I think unconsciously, I'm really training them to be more precise and to distinguish between similar shots so that they're able to say, well, this one's a big smile and that one's a big smile. But this one, it looks like I'm super friendly. This one looks like I'd just be a great boss, you know, or whatever. So if you feel like, man, why are people buying, you know, two big smile ones on gray backgrounds with the same outfit? You know, then you don't understand expressions like I do, I think. And you're not, you know, probably that, and you're then not able to tell your clients what you're seeing. So I think you're shooting yourself in the foot if you think, oh wow, they bought 8 images, they're all like practically the same. Or, you know, 4 of them are like this, 4 of them are like that, then you don't understand as much as would be helpful for you to understand about expressions. All right, let's do wins. What?
Good point.
I think that's why I've never pinpointed why people say that about my work. Occasionally I agree, like, yeah, those were pretty much the same. But I just really realized that that's probably why it is. I think I studied expressions. Like you know, through the crew, I really learned a lot about it. So I'm able to help my clients that way. See you, Kevin. Oh, we already left. There you are. Someone else left. See ya. All right, let's do wins. Kevin, do you have anything before? No. Tom, go ahead. What's your win for this month?
I got a call last week from a doctor's group I used to work for, and they are possibly interested in updating their website headshots. So I am pursuing that, and we'll see what happens.
Good. I'm going to go in order this time, including myself. So the couple wins that, you know, you either don't know about or are just my wins. The Corvette is really exciting. My wife is pregnant, and it seems like it might be a girl. So either way, boy or girl, that's exciting. What else? $100,000 a month, obviously. Yeah, those are my wins. Charlie?
Yeah, so my big win for June was for the first time since before the pandemic, when I was doing mostly commercial work, I hit 10,000 a month,
Good.
which was great. So that was good. I'm on track right now. If all things go as planned or better, I should be hitting close to 15 this month. So those were really big wins. And, you know, what you said before is not to count it as a fluke, but I did it and this is totally possible. And that's exactly how I feel. So there's a lot to be said for that bit of advice.
Yeah, cool. John, the better John.
Hey, I guess the win that I have is at the end of this month, I made what I made last year in total and beat it by 15%.
Oh, wow. Cool. In July.
So I am on track to just continue to do better than I did last year. June was busy. July, I've been booked all last week, this week, going into next week. And I got a couple irons in the fire with some groups. Groups have been pretty good to me. I just did one on Friday. I've been getting better luck with selling the composite group also, which is a nice little add-on. I think I need to adjust my pricing, but basically I'm I'm doing it kind of as a per image fee because to me it's a little less editing. 115 image, so for 9 people, it was that $13.50 to do a group photo. That's what I'm charging. So an extra per image, and that includes the retouching for the editing. So I feel like I'm at a point where I might need to reevaluate my prices. I kind of threw around the term around once I can fend people off with a stick, I should probably readjust, but I think I'll be looking at things here soon. But I've been happy with my pricing. Sales have been going up. Seems to be working,
I think that's part of my problem with groups is, with a $3,000 per person average for an individual, it's so much easier than a group. And the decision is quicker to book. I can just call them and
Yeah.
booking. I don't have to check. They don't have to check with 4 people and coordinate. And then I have a scheduling link, and then it takes, 3 hours to shoot 15 people. And I
Yeah.
get paid as much as I do in an hour. So maybe my pricing is too high, but it's hard for me to go much lower because I don't want a $4,500 group job that takes all day.
Yeah, I mean, this one on Friday, I left my house at 6:30 a.m. I was there by 7 and I was out of there by noon, and then you're hauling everything in and out. They paid me, I think just that charge, I think it was like $2,800.
Yeah,
Um,
it's good money. It's just
yeah.
that's like
Thi-
a
But
1 session, 1 hour kind of thing.
this one had a little caveat to it. So it was their board of directors is like 11. And, I'm actually donating 4 hours of my time to do some like lifestyle stuff, kind of in good faith. And also that so I could get kind of the job
Yeah,
where, but I'm also hoping that it's a little investment in time so that the board of directors maybe notices the work that I did.
yeah.
And then they might want to book with me too. So
Cool. Yeah, I think the nonprofit thing is really good angle, the board of directors, because they all work somewhere else. Yeah, I think that could
Yeah.
big for you. So maybe I should just do it, even though I'm not trying to find money for food. It could be a good thing to do.
I mean, I feel like you're doing pretty well. So
All right, but I'm still behind the millions.
well, what you did in this last month, yeah,
It helps.
would take me 3 years with what I made last year. So
Yeah,
I
but
think you're doing well.
1 year at the current rate and getting shorter. All right, Jared, what you got?
So I just had a good month, another 15K or so, which is like the 4th month in a row.
Still not
So
enough to buy a webcam.
Still haven't bought a webcam. Yeah, I'm kind of just trying to figure out like what my next move is to kind of like push things further, because I
Yeah.
really kind of want to break the 20K month
Mhm.
thing and make that the more regular thing. I came close to breaking 20K back in like March or something, but it wasn't quite there. So I'm kind of trying to figure out like what the next move is to really push that. I'm probably going to be raising my prices, because I haven't raised my prices yet this year. So I'll probably raise my prices. I'm working towards training up a retoucher kind of thing, so I can get that off my plate, because I think it'll be a lot easier for me to focus on growing the business if I don't ever have to worry about getting bogged down with, a bunch of retouching and, that's eating up all my time,
Well,
So,
that sounds good. Your work is getting great, so it would be really helpful to me if you would raise your rates, get closer to me.
yeah, and plus who is it? Elliot's at 290. And I feel like there's other folks in the group that are like 250 and 290 and stuff. So I'm just like, I need to probably just step on it and just
Dragging
do it.
everybody down.
Yeah. So,
You should.
yeah.
There's a market for it. I mean, I feel like people have been booking more at my new pricing and spending more at my new pricing the few sessions I've done. So you can do it. All right. Last thoughts, anybody? Are we good? All right.
I guess that's it.
Okay. Have a good night, guys.
All right, thanks,
Thanks,
John.
John.
Good
Take
month,
care.
everyone.
See ya.